I've got 5 areas to maximum neuromuscular power development. First one is slow, write this down, slow, velocity, strength. Okay, that's the first one. Now, like I just said before, I'll ask you guys, what's the equation for power? Power equals what? Okay, so power, let's go back to the start. Let's keep it simple. What's the equation for force? Force equals what? Mass times acceleration, right? So what that's saying, just so you guys understand this, is to maximise force output, i.e. contraction of the muscle, there's 2 ways. We can either lift a heavier weight, which is the mass, or we can accelerate it quicker. And that brings back to the other point, which I just said before, I'm glad I brought this up, is you can maximise force by just moving the weight quicker with more intent. That's why intention is so important, so accelerate the bar, right? So that's the first way. So remember that. The second way, we said this before, power equals what, guys? Force times velocity. So what's it saying is, what is the first equation to maximise power adaptation?
Increase force.
Increase force, right? So that's increased strength. Now, by the way, you don't have to do it this way. Like these other ways, like example, I've seen sprinters who are just very fast twitch dominant, and they're more on this side, and they're not as strong at all, but they go to the gym once, and they can lift heavy weights. Genetics play a massive role. Massive fucking huge role, right? And also, when we're talking about potentiation as well, it can actually work the other way. So instead of doing a strength movement first, you can do a power movement first, and then do a strength movement. There's no rules to this, right? So don't think, oh, fuck, I have to do it this way. This is the issue with our industry. It's not black or white. And people think you have to do it a certain way. You don't. There's many ways to skin a cat, many roads lead to Rome. So that's so many times in my fucking career. But there is. Because you know what is the end goal? What is the end goal for you guys, right? Let's give an example to your example here, right? The end goal is this guy here, you want high level, he wants to develop strength or power. So let's just give an example. The closer the trained task, the motor skill, the greater transference. That's motor learning skill acquisition, right? The closer the trained task, the motor skill, the greater transference. Everything we're looking for is transference, right? We're never getting 100%. The only true way is what? The sport, very good, okay? But here's the kicker, right? The closer the trained task to the performance measure, the greater transference. So for you guys, example, he wants to improve his strength and power. What measures are we looking for strength and power, right? So let's try this here, right? So strength. What can we use to test strength in the gym? 1 RMs, so we can use 1 RMs, we can use 3 RMs correlate, we can use 5 RMs. The closer it is to the 1 RM, the better correlation, right? A true correlation 1 RM. Now, let's say, for example, we don't want to 1 RM test them because they don't have the orthopedic profile, right? I personally, it can be dangerous if you don't do it properly, right? What's other ways we can use it? Right, we can test it, which is it's the most safest way. But you got to have money for it, really. And we're getting one, so.
What's the 10-day unit?
What kind of Andy we know? Yes, yeah, very good. You know, we talked about this before, force decks, right? So it's called isometric mid-thigh pull, and what we're using is force decks to see how much force we can apply on the ground. We're getting them, so hopefully you guys are halfway through your course. How much longer have they got?
Yeah, halfway.
So how long?
13 weeks.
Okay, so we'll have it by 13 weeks. You guys can see it. We can actually, Chris can take you through it because Chris knows how to use them. So isometric mid-thigh pull is much force on the ground, right? So that's one we can taste strength, right? What about when we're testing power? So you want to improve strength and power, right? We're going to do certain tests. 1, 3, 5 RM, isometric mid-thigh pull. We can actually put the bar in the back as well. It doesn't really matter depending. But remember, how you test them the first time, you have to retest them the same. You guys, to make it valid, right? You guys understand that? Validity?
Yeah.
So you have to retest them the same way, right? Power. What test can we use for power?
Tendo.
Well, we can use a tendo. We can put weight on the bar, check how quickly they move the bar. We can do it at different loads and therefore different velocities. We can use, so we can write tendo. We can do, we can work on a jump mat. Now, if you don't have a jump mat, what can you use? Vertex, you can use counter movement jump, you can do a static jump.
There's apps you can get, $25.
Well, you can actually get a free app on VBT these days, and they can just check it as well. So there's free apps on that as well. Counter movement jump, non-counter movement jump, broad jump, so vertical displacement, horizontal displacement, number of apps. What I'm saying is this, right? You need to make a program. So if you're looking to improve this, right, when the coach comes to you and says, or the athlete comes to you and wants to improve strength or power, and these are the tests, it would make sense to choose exercises that correlate with the transfer of doing this. It makes sense. For example, if you're doing a 1, 3, 5 RM on a trap bar deadlift for a squat, it probably makes sense that we do lift heavy with a trap bar or a squat, because they're doing that. Okay, it's specificity. The closer trained task, the motor skill, the great transference. Makes sense, right? So specific muscle group, motor pattern, tonic coordination, metabolic pathway. So it makes sense to do a squat or a deadlift, right? Let's say we're doing an isometric mid-thigh pull, right? Anything where you're applying a shitload of force to the ground, we're going to get transference. Obviously, most transference will be doing that. You could even do a rack pull, but you start to see what I'm saying. If you want to improve a broad jump, do the broad jump.
Right, second one. Second quality. So you got
Okay, yeah, sorry, I could go on all day, sorry. Slow velocity strength. Now, slow velocity strength is what? Strength, right? So just strength with heavy loads, low repetitions, right? Second, fast velocity strength. Okay, fast velocity strength. So the first one facilitates everything. You don't have the first one, you got nothing. Because you can't express something rapidly if you don't have it to begin with. So what I'm saying about that is you need a strength base to begin with, right? The second, fast velocity strength. Anything like, what's fast velocity strength you guys reckon? Have a guess. Yeah, well, good. You know what you're talking about, Andy. You should believe me somewhat. Good. Olympic lifting, weightlifting, loaded jumps, anything where we've got weight on the bar and we're moving it quick, like we're projecting, right? It could be even dynamic effort where we use bands and chains. I mean, in America they use it. I'm sure Chris will tell you. In Maryland we used it all the time. Bands and chains to minimise the deceleration. It's called accommodative resistance, right? You can use this in high-level stuff too. So any loaded work, loaded jumps, weightlifting, anything like that, we call it high-low power or strength speed, right? Producing power against heavy external loads. The third one, SSC. Do you guys know what SSC is? Stretch cycle. Yeah, you know it. Stretch shorten cycle. Write that down. How do we develop a stretch shorten cycle? Plyometrics. Write that down. Plyo. So any plyometric. Plyo. Now, just quickly, I'll quickly break down plyos again to make it even harder for you guys. With plyometrics, you've got a few of them, right? Fuck. Slow velocity. So you've got slow SSC, which is over 0.2 seconds. Okay, fast SSC is under 0.2 seconds. Okay, so if it's a slow SSC, right? Slow SSC, right? It's over 0.2 seconds. A fast SSC, what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. A depth jump, when I come off the box, my foot touches the ground, and then I jump back up, and you're trying to jump as quick as you can off the ground. So minimal ground contact, that's a fast SSC. A slow one would be something like I'd do. I'd come down because I'm old, and I absorb it, and then I jump up. I'm gonna stay on the ground longer. That makes sense though. The longer I stay on the ground, the higher I'm gonna jump. Okay? But it's going to be less to do with, it's still elastic, but it's less elastic than if I'm just trying to jump up quicker, right? Also, I'll keep breaking this down even more, right? There's two types of plyometrics, right? Depending on who you talk to. Extensive and intensive. Extensive are longer plyometrics, so longer duration. So we do a lot of this shit at Woodford. We do a lot of pogo stuff. Pogo is really good for stiffness and lower body stiffness and general low level plyometric, right? Low amplitude plyometric. Extensive or longer. Intensive are shorter, more intense. A depth jump is an intensive plyometric. A pogo for like a minute, if you want to condition the foot ankle complex, is extensive, it's longer. Okay, if you want to write that down, write that down. I thought I'd bring that up anyway, right? SSC, 4, RFD, rate of force development, right? Okay, rate of force development, pretty simple. Anywhere where you're trying to move sub-maximal weight or even heavy weight quickly, we're going to get that rate of force development adaptation. Right? And also, just for everyone out there, strength adaptation is a neuromuscular quality. So it's a quality of the nervous and muscular system. Power is heavily neural bias. What I mean by that is it's dependent on the nervous system to recruit and train high threshold and fast twitch motor units and do so quickly. Right? It's heavily nervous. I don't give a fuck who you are, it's nervous system. This is what controls everything, right? Always slabs of meat, right? So RFD, move it quick. Number 5, last one, in my opinion, the most important. Inter, muscular coordination. Intra is motor recruitment, firing frequency, rate coding. Inter is, write this down, intermuscular coordination. INTR, muscular coordination. Right? Intermuscular coordination is what we call motor learning skill acquisition. Right? Learning the skill. The nervous system has to learn the appropriate recruitment patterns. The best athletes in the world can contract and relax quickly. Like when they're sprinting, you watch the best sprinters in the world, they just contract, relax. That's a bad example. But let's say the quickest football players, non-track stars, right? They can contract their nervous system, switch on and off muscle groups at whim. Real quick, it's called neuromuscular recruitment, right? It's a skill. So INTR muscular coordination is motor learning skill acquisition. The nervous system becoming efficient at recruiting motor units at the right time and the right time in coordination, right? That's the most important, right? So I'll write this down, INTR, intermuscular coordination, right? So we have 5. This is my 5 areas to neuromuscular power development. I'll quickly go over it. Slow velocity strength, strength lift. Fast velocity strength, anywhere where like loaded jumps, weightlifting, anything we're lifting heavy weight or sub-max weight quickly, right? SSC, plyometrics, right? Minimal ground contact time to make it a plyometric. Rate of force development, anywhere you're moving the weight with intent quickly, we're going to maximise rate of force development. And the last one, motor learning skill acquisition, intermuscular coordination. Okay? Is there any question about that? Just let everyone know that's what you've used to understand. I've given it to about 15 minutes.